Kuhn is the fullback with the first and goal. Kuhn gets the call. Pyle trying to make his way in for the touchdown. What a great second effort.
Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the. Here comes the. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. I said so. I keep big bills up in my heart on the dirty like blood. So ain't got no twist in my head, but I'm still dreadful.
Wolfpack, what is going on? The post-game first ever tailgate from the Roto Street Journal, where we and feed fantasy wolves. We are thrilled to check this out because we know everybody wants to keep that fantasy Sunday rolling. There's this weird pocket of like 40 minutes between red zone and Sunday night football. Why not just go raw emotions, recap the day, look at your waiver wire, kind of just keep the good fantasy times rolling. I, of course, am the Wolf. With me as our podcast co-host, the Truth himself, Fantasy Sunday Truth. How are we doing, my man? Week 6.
The collective we, I don't know. Me personally, I've been on pins and needles all day. I've been in a shootout with a league rival that it looks like I might lose. So I'm in not a great mood. Not used to being in the co-host chair either.
Yeah,
so, I felt a little naked in the beginning. Also, there's this logo of an eggplant like jutting into my forehead, which is
very deliberate. Yes,
appropriate.
very deliberately
right? I'm pumped to be here, man. This is a void in the world of fantasy football. The time between when red zone ends and when Sunday night football begins. What do? I mean, it used to be back when I was a kid. That's when NFL primetime was on. But I mean, that's not really a thing anymore. So now we're the thing.
We are the thing. We will become that thing. And those of you tuned in, thanks so much for joining us. I agree, Nat. It's a wild Sunday. If you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are, it gets us out to more people and we can just have a blast here until we get to Sunday night football. I'm in an interesting battle, kind of the opposite of a shootout. I'm facing the last place team. He has started out hot as fuck. He was projected to score 150, but Aaron Rodgers is his QB. Spineless effort. So I ultimately have a breathing, fighting chance here in the game. And speaking of Aaron Rodgers fans, we're going to rip through the studs of the week, the duds of the week, 3 up, 3 down, early waiver wire for those of you joining us. And then, of course, a mailbag for whatever lingering questions you might have to get through your week. And to read these studs of the week, a returning guest, a Roto Street Journal legend, won 3 of his last 4 championships, or was it 4 out of 5? I don't even know. The kid is just racking up titles, but I am thrilled to welcome on Mr. Seamus Russell, simply Seamus.
Is that Seamus's music? Oh my God. Here he is.
Seamus, are you with us, sir? How are you, man?
Well, I've been better.
Oh no.
My Packers kind of just got demolished into the ground.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers really wasn't that studly, tonight, but oh well.
Well, we do have some studs for you to distract yourself with here, Seamus, because that was a pathetic performance, and we'd love every week for you to nominate the studs of the week. It'll be around 3 to 5 studs. We got 5 names here, and then me and the Truth, after you nominate them for us, will go. Are you looking, though? Are you about to win your matchups this week? Like, where do you sit, Seamus?
So I sit better than when I started today. One of my matches, as you know, all of my wide receivers were questionable at one point, and I had none on my bench, and they did well. So one of my matches, I think, is like 55-45, and then another one is like 60-40. So it's actually better, and I'm in. If I win both, I'll probably be in the top 3 of both my leagues. So
there we go.
Just another championship for the dance teacher. No big deal.
The dance teacher is ripping it up. Well, Seamus, why don't you start hitting us with these nominations? I'm going to pull you up solo, or I'll pull up the first nominee, and you just let him rip. And I'll fire him away. Nominee 1.
Derrick Henry had the kind of game that reminds you he's the perfect guy to build a stable around. He rushed 22 times for a jaw-dropping 212 yards and scoring twice, while adding another 52 yards receiving.
It's a worthy nominee right there.
Very worthy.
I'd say.
Next up.
Henry's teammate, Ryan Tanhill, put up a massive fantasy numbers again this week. Tanhill threw for 364 yards and 4 touchdowns as the Titans edged out the Texans in overtime thriller.
Next up.
Deshaun Watson did an amazing job coming from behind before sadly losing in an overtime this week. He threw for 335 yards, 4 touchdowns with no picks, and running for another 26.
2 receivers to round this out.
Justin Jefferson was targeted 11 times, pulling in 9 of them for stunning 166 yards and scoring not once, but twice. The Vikings may suck, but this guy kicks ass and takes names.
Both things.
Both things, indeed. And last up, Seamus, thank you so much.
A guy who has been no stranger to this list in the past. Julio Jones had a vintage performance this week, catching 8 balls on 10 targets for 137 yards and scored 2 times, leading the Falcons to their first win of the season.
Awesome. Well, Seamus, thank you so much. Best of luck in your week 6. It sounds like you're the favorite in both. We hope you take it down. Keep the Roto Street posted how you end up. And those nominations were perfect, as always. Thank you so much, Seamus.
Thanks, Seamus.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
I love being called a gentleman. That doesn't happen anywhere near enough.
Very rarely does it happen, but we are the perfect gentleman here, Truth. And who do you pick out of all those worthy nominations? Who's your pick of the
So I'm a little bit biased because he's on my squad. He's my starting RB1. He's the guy I spent the most money for my auction team that I care the most about. And coincidentally, I think he's the clear winner, which is Derrick Henry himself.
Right.
22 carries, 212, 2 touchdowns, and 50 yards receiving as well. Man, that is such a nutcracker performance right there. Do you agree? I mean, I can't imagine you'd take anybody else.
It's really tough not to take Derrick Henry. I agree. Just ridiculous production at the hardest position to find consistent, steady production. Just a smattering. It's just steamroller, the human steamroller. I've never seen anything like this guy. It's unbelievable. So yes, he'd be my pick. I guess Jefferson showing up the way he did was huge. And ultimately, on our DFS show, Nat, I said, how do you not just pay the extra 100? With Madison was the most projected owned. He was $100 cheaper than Derrick Henry. I was like, how do you not, if he's going to be the most owned guy, just pay up that extra $100?
Are you talking about like for DraftKings? He was $100 cheaper?
No, Henry was $100 more, but that was it. That was literally only.
No, but I mean, they were $100 apart.
Yes.
That's insane.
And Madison was more owned.
And if you guys want to hear about Madison a little, let's take it to the next segment because we agree that Derrick Henry is the stud of the week. He's earned it. Let's move to the next segment, right? Duds of the week.
Dud of the week. And I don't even know if we need multiple. The dud of the week absolutely has to be Alexander Madison, in my opinion. Do you have any other nominees?
Can I throw a few out there? I'm not saying I disagree with you.
Throw them out there.
Baker Mayfield, 119 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, benched in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to at least give him a little love. And connected to him, OBJ, 2 catches, 25 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster, 2 receptions for 6 yards.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, certainly. Now, this guy, nobody ever thought he was going to be good, but this is one of the worst stat lines you'll see. Drew Lock, 10 for 24, $189, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 5 rushes for -1 yard.
Robust yards per carry.
And they won.
Oh, fuck you.
It's startling. When I was kind of keeping notes as I was going on, and I just kind of random things that would happen throughout the day. And what my thing for Drew Lock was, I just wrote like, this guy throws one of the worst deep balls I've ever seen in my life. It was like 3rd and 1, and you're like, and Philip Lindsay's running pretty well, and you're like, well, just hand the ball up, and he'll throw it like 30 yards downfield into like coverage.
Yeah.
It was just he's a terrible decision maker. He doesn't seem to be a good passer, and he's like the best quarterback that's come through Denver in like 8 or 9 years.
Right.
They suck. And the Patriots still
your
lost.
Broncos blow, and yet
they're not my Broncos anymore. Come on. I can't get behind these guys.
Yeah, it's awful.
But Madison, let's talk about Madison, a guy that people were spending $40-$50 on waivers, supposedly going to feast today. What was his final stat line?
10 carries, 26 yards. I mean, I had him in my biggest league. Yeah, it's like the ultimate smash spot, the second most fantasy points to running backs, the Falcons. And he comes in and does legitimately nothing. I mean, beyond nothing. The worst possible fucking performance. A complete dud. The only time you think you're going to get him. I mean, last week he had 20 carries for 100 yards with Cook in for the first half. Where did this come from? I don't know, but there is no doubt in my mind. I cannot wait to fucking cut this loser. You finally have your chance. You blow it. I'm totally done with Alexander Madison. By far the only dud of the week that can be considered. Disgusted.
He's the guy.
Want to puke. Yeah, the only one.
He's the guy. I thought mine were pretty good though. I thought those guys all sucked. But I agree that given the expectations for Matt, I mean, nobody thought Drew Lock was going to do anything. They just maybe thought he wasn't going to be that bad.
Right.
But look at Madison. I mean, where'd you have him on your running back board? I saw people have him as high as 2 or 3.
I had him at like 7 or 8. Yeah, like an RB1, a lock RB1.
Absolute RB1. Everyone's like, well, it's going to be one game, but he's sure going to eat today. Well, he didn't eat much.
And I will say, too, if you follow us, the only saving grace for Madison was last week when people were asking, who do I blow my number one priority on or the most fab money? I said Claypool. So Madison, you might get one game. I said Claypool.
He was good.
He was great. And he looks like a stud. And we're going to talk about ups and downs in a second. But that's one saving grace is I didn't say blow it all on Madison. I said, it's third on the priority last week, but assuming he'd smash this week, and he didn't. So now he's literally just cut him and get rid of him.
The worst? Go ahead.
Exactly. No, but that's really it. Like, screw Madison. We weren't as crazy high. And on DraftKings, I did say you had to go Henry over Madison when it was only $100 difference. Madison was my fade of the week, and that ended up working well.
The worst guy in my hometown league, but like the one with the worst team, he just seems to be the worst owner. He spent $51 on Madison on waivers last week.
Well, that's clearly the tells you everything you need to know. The worst owner in your league spent $51.
He was trying to make something happen. Didn't work.
Exactly. Well, let's move on to the next segment here. 3 up, 3 down. And as you know, Rose Street Journal, where we treat it as a stock market, risers and fallers. You can go to rosestreetjournal.com/stockwatch or download our app, which has our stock watch in its cleanest format. We always talk about the risers and fallers of the week. And I always like just get the bad news out of the way first.
Okay.
You mentioned a lot of these in your duds of the week. Juju, just absolutely pathetic.
2 catches, 6 yards.
Awful. 2 catches, 6 yards. With Deontay Johnson out, 36% target share out and removed. And not only does Juju suck, Claypool looks like a fucking stud again.
Yeah, you look pretty good.
And we got that question a lot in the sit start show this morning. And I said, give me Claypool. He's my number one receiver from here on out. Washington outscored them both today. Or actually, Claypool might have ended
Washington had a really good game. But I mean, I have a feeling there's at least a chance that Claypool is about to like put it into another gear. The Steelers look really, really good. I know that you've shit on the Steelers all the time, and with good reason. They look really strong right now. Right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, James Conner, I feel like he's going to get hurt anytime, but he hasn't. He had another good game today. The Browns were supposed to be a formidable test. Their defense just ate the Browns alive.
Right. Exactly. They're a scary team. And especially, and again, you said Claypool's going to emerge. I mean,
I think one thing,
if we give Tomlin any credit, it's that he finds something that works. He's just going to go to it time and time again. What hasn't worked with Claypool, every time they've gone to him, he's produced. So I think this is just a ultimate sign of everything to come. He is going to be that waiver wire guy that if you scooped him in week 5, you got yourself a league winner. I think a high-end wide receiver 2, low-end 1 from here on out, he's going to be shooting up my rankings.
Are you cutting Juju right now?
Oh, man. I don't know if you can cut him because it's still Juju and like he could put it together, but he's hitting the bench hard.
A lot of mouths to feed right now in that line. I mean, that's a lot of guys to throw to,
and none bigger than Claypool. Claypool's the clear number 1 here on out. And I said this last week. I said it's going to end up this way. Claypool's going to be my number 1. I said it to multiple people, and I'm pumped to get that right. He's a monster. My other down, and you mentioned the third down, but Stafford, the easy smash spot, the freaking Jaguars, awful defense that they're just going to get blown out every time, right? He goes 19 of 31, 223, 1 touchdown and interception, pathetic effort. Does nothing. What was that? Amount to 10 points, maybe less. Complete dud. And Marvin Jones, another 2 catches, 8 yards.
I almost put Jones on my duds nominees, and then I was like, nah, he sucks too bad to even deserve to be on the spot. I mean, he was terrible.
He's still like 70, 80% owned. Why at this point? Get rid of him. Just an awful effort. And he's clearly Marvin Jones on the cut list, along with T.Y. Hilton, 1 catch, 14 yards, even though Phillip Rivers erupts. But the last down of the week, you mentioned it, Baker and Cleveland offense, just absolutely abysmal. He gets benched with them down 31-7. He's awful. Baker Mayfield just sucks.
He's terrible.
Terrible.
He got benched for Case Keenum.
And Keenum looked good compared to him.
Yeah, Keenum hit Landry for like a 30-yard slant across the middle, first pass or something like that. And I was like, oh, man, that's what I'm talking about.
Joke of a player. Beckham, 2 catches, 25. Landry, 3 for 40. Hooper, 5 for 50. Kareem Hunt, 40 yards. I mean, the Steelers a tough matchup, a good defense. I agree with everything you're saying. But like I said to begin the Juju segment, when I kind of digressed a little bit, the Steelers defense is really nasty. So it's possible they were just completely outclassed by these guys. I'm interested to see how they bounce back from that, if they bounce back from it. Probably won't. And last segment here before the mailbag, just an early look at the waiver wire. And so let me know if I forget any here, Nat.
Did we go? You did your downs. I don't think we did your 3 ups.
Oh, we didn't even do the 3 ups. Shit.
No, you said you want to get the bad news out of the way, but you dismissed the good news completely.
And we have some really good news to cover.
I know. Let's cover it. Let's do it. Let's fly through it.
With the downs being the Lions' passing game, the up has to be the running game and DeAndre Swift. He was, dropped by some impatient owners in some leagues. And if not, he's 74% owned, so probably owned, but quickly take a look. Dude had 14 carries for 116 and 2 scores in the win. 3 receptions, 7 yards. They seem to finally emerge from their bye and be like, yeah, maybe we should ride our second-round running back that is a supreme talent. Huge effort by him. And the big part was, he got stuffed on 2 goal line carries at one point. And they kept AP on the sidelines, gave it to him a third time, and he pounded it in. And that's what I love to see was okay, they're giving this kid the fucking test. He responded. I think Swift is probably going to be the biggest riser on my big board. Any thoughts on his big day?
I agree with you. I think that especially given the specific thing you just described, that just smells vote of confidence all the way. There are plenty of other ways you could have handled it. That was a very intentional way to handle it. And hopefully that's going to pay dividends with his confidence and selfishly his production for fantasy.
100%. And I think we're going to get a nice 50 to 60 even percent snap share, flip in his favor for the rest of the season. I think the Houston offense has to be a huge up just as a whole, specifically Deshaun Watson. You mentioned, and Seamus mentioned, coming from behind, 4 touchdowns in that effort, but just the aggressiveness. Tim Kelly opening up the attack, lots of deep play action. We'll see the exact play action rates tomorrow, but I know last week it was right around 30% play action, a huge jump from the 18%. And it just, Watson is so good on those types of throws, and we're seeing it ultimately become that way. And the defense is a joke. They are going to have to play this comeback shootout style offense. And clearly they have the nuts to go toe and forth. Will Fuller, 123 on 6 catches, Brandon Cooks, 68 and a score on 9 catches. These guys are going to be able to get it done for you.
We agree David Johnson sucks though, right?
Still sucks. Got in the end zone though, but he's going to be the sluggish benefactor. Even
though is he just Lamar Miller 2.0 or what?
Yes, exactly. And Bill, this offense is going to pound it in when they get in close. Exactly. Lamar Miller, gross, but will score touchdowns in a high power attack. Right. And I think you got the final stats for this dude.
I did. We don't have really a write up for him, but I mean, he did go 23 times for 113 yards, 2 scores, had a couple catches, not much yardage on that, but it was like a 26-point PPR game out of him. CJ's been pounding the drums for this guy forever. Yeah, we used to kind of mock him for it, and now we've kind of grudgingly given him our respect, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a great call at this point. Yes, Fournette's injury has kind of led to this, But Rojo has done nothing but respond in a huge fashion to being the guy, the bell cow. If I looked back at every snap at this point, I bet you he played 70%, maybe even more snaps tonight. And all he's doing is responding. Yes, Green Bay, soft defense, easy defense to do it against. But this is, I think, 3 straight games now. The dude has ripped off 100 yards. I think there was like a 3-year drought when a Bucs running back didn't have 100 yards. Never mind 3 straight games of it. He's the guy. He's earned it. He looks great doing it. I know his hands aren't the best for a Brady-style offense, but let's call a spade a spade. This guy looks like a stallion as a runner. He's big. He's fast. He powers through. I'm loving what Ronald Jones is doing, and I never thought I'd say that.
I know, right?
To, eat a little bit of humble pie there, because after his rookie year, I thought the dude was fucking done. But he's responded well, and I think you can treat this guy as a high end, even when Fournette's back. They're not going to go back. Like, he's earned it. He has earned this gig. And Arians, as shitty as he can be and dishonest as he can be, we've seen him when he finds his guy, ride his guy. He's going to ride Ronald Jones as he's ridden David Johnson, as he's ridden Willie Parker. Ronald Jones is great from here on out.
All right, no argument there. I mean, that game, if we have more time later, we can talk about that game. I believe it was a 38-10 win, Tampa Bay over Green Bay. If we had longer to go, I mean, I'm pretty sure we would have been throwing the down Packers offense, who we thought were pretty fucking awesome before, like, an hour ago.
Huge down. I mean, big for my DraftKings. I haven't even opened it up yet.
I'm excited.
It up. Maybe we'll open it up live at the end and just see how I did. I think I had a decent day. I'm excited to see how much. But let's move on to
talk waivers. And then after waivers, I want to just read you the 5 or 6 comments that I made at the bottom of the shared doc as I was watching football throughout the day.
Absolutely. We'll hear Truth's 5 nuggets of wisdom coming up.
I don't know. That might be generous, but go ahead.
So waivers, and this is, again, early reaction without much time to prep. We're doing this on the fly as we're drunk, high, enjoying Red Zone. So, there's probably some names we're overlooking.
Right. We haven't had the guys in the back room haven't proofread any of this shit.
But there's probably some names, yes. So let us know in the comments if I overlook a name. Send them on in, and we'll debrief them, because we're going to get to the mailbag.
Yeah,
we saved the last 20 minutes of every broadcast just for the mailbag, if not more. I mean, I'll go into the game. I don't give a shit. So let's look. I think the tight ends this week, there's certainly some guys emerging. One of them being Trey Burton, has 4 catches, 58 yards, a score, and then another rushing score on the ground, 20% owned. It seems to be a staple, especially with Mo Alley Cox out. I wish I had him in DraftKings, and my day would have been crazy had I done that. Anthony Fursker, I got to shout out you, Rich Genos. I don't know if you're tuned in right now, brother, but he said maybe you pivot away from Irv Smith in your DFS, go to Fursker. And this was before Jonnu got hurt. He's like, you might just get a cheap-ass touchdown. Then Jonnu got hurt, and Fursker went 113 in a score. If I had done him in my lineup, I probably would be a rich man today. Unfortunately, did not go him, but I think my lineup still did well. We'll see. But Fursker, as long as Jonnu is out, this offense, clearly, the Titans are a powerhouse. This is 40 points, 32 points, 36. What did they put up today? 43. I mean, this offense is in overtime. Like,
I want to say 41, maybe.
Yeah, because they scored the winner at the end there. So, I mean, over 30-something points in 4 straight games. Arthur Smith's a G. This offense rolls. So if Jonnu misses time, Fursker is going to be a top 7, 8 tight end for however long Jonnu's out. And Fell's in as well. Jordan Aitkins hurt, 6 catches, 85 and a score. Love what he shows. He's got some good athleticism, and this whole Houston offense rising is just obviously net positive for everybody, including the tight end that's going to get some red zone love. And then the last tight end, we got Irv Smith, 4 catches, 55 yards, as well as a 2-point conversion. Not a huge day, but just more and more popular in terms of meeting the production. So I thought he was some interesting tight ends. Are there any guys of that list that you were like, yeah, that one I buy more than others?
It's hard not to buy the Tennessee guy, Furkster or whatever the hell his name was, just because of the offense that he's in. I mean, I'm tempted to look into him. One thing we didn't, for some reason, mention on duds and down and all that, I don't know how this asshole slipped through the cracks, but Zach Ertz is a pile of steaming dog shit.
Yeah.
And he's currently my tight end. And I say currently because his time with my team is almost certainly coming to an end. And I would love to replace him with that Tennessee dude who just is in a monster offense right now. So I guess he's the one. I don't really believe in Atlanta's guy, but whatever. I don't really believe in Atlanta, even though they put up huge points.
Yeah.
But like, seriously, I mean, you acknowledge that Ertz has slipped through the cracks by not falling in either one of those categories. He's terrible.
And in that sense, I just added a new banner here, but check for Dallas Goddard. Dropped in a lot of leagues. Ertz like limped off at one point, clearly sucks. Like Dallas Goddard's about to come off the IR and could go crazy, and he's out there in a lot of leagues. So that's a great reminder. And all these tight ends we just ripped, I'd rather have Dallas Goddard than any of them.
And I'm so pissed about Ertz because, like, I've been down on Ertz forever. I was down on him when like no one had any business being down on him because he was really good.
And now you own him.
Yeah, and finally I get in the business, and so it's like I knew if I just stayed hating him forever, eventually he'd suck. But I didn't want to own him somewhere in the meantime.
I totally, yeah, exactly. As soon as you finally go into those guys you've always hated, they're gonna bust on you, no matter how good they've been. Yeah,
it's enraging, and I'm because this is right on the heels of these games, I'm just extra mad. I've had a little beer and I'm pretty angry. The more I think about what happened in my game, the more I'm just kind of stewing and getting madder and madder. So let's go to whoever the next thing is. Go on, because this is a sore subject.
Well,
this fucking sucks.
You want his stat line just for you, Nat. Instead of Ertz going off, Travis Fulgham, whoever that creature is, has 6 catches on 10 targets, another double-digit target day. 75 yards, another score. So he's now scored in 3 straight. He's been a fantasy beast in 3 straight. I mean, I get Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey. They're going to eventually return, but this guy, 31% owned. How does he just disappear? I don't see it. He got Wentz's trust. He's kind of been anchoring this core the last 3 weeks. I think he stays. I think he's a fixture no matter what happens when Alshon and Deshaun Jackson come back. Do you have any interest in Fulgham, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's all relative. I'd rather have him on my team than Zach Ertz. Yeah, I have some interest in him. I watched some of this game, and I mean, he was involved a bunch. I think he got targeted like 10 times. That's not nothing.
Not nothing at all. Again, double digits, 2 straight weeks, scoring all 3. The guy is getting it done, and he's great in these contested. That was his thing coming out of college, was he's great in contested situations. We're seeing it. Like it's translating at the NFL level, which is kind of worrisome. You're like, well, is he only good at these because he can't separate, or is he just really good at contested balls? And he's really good. So, and last guy,
go ahead.
Yeah, no. Who are you saying?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, the whole contested ball thing. I mean, it's hit and miss. It's not like, it's an automatic formula for getting a stud. But I mean, when I didn't have a ton of knowledge about some of these guys years ago, I remember specifically when he was a rookie and a second-year player going after DeAndre Hopkins because there was such a buzz about how good his hands were on contested plays. And I really didn't know much about him at all. But everyone kept saying that, and I was like, all right, well, if the ball's near him, he's going to pull in. And, of course, I mean, look what he is now. I'm not saying this guy's going to be DeAndre Hopkins, but obviously that's a skill that interests me, and probably I'm not the only one.
Absolutely. No, exactly. If you can be thrown open when you're not really open and actually complete those, your quarterbacks will love you forever. And then the last one is he was kind of being thrown open when he wasn't open. So I don't know that I'm interested in anything in a Philly Rivers-led offense. So this is kind of just like, who's this? Marcus Johnson. 5 catches on 8 targets and 108 yards, 27, 36 yards, 13, 55, 20, and 20-yard receptions. So a lot of big plays. Kind of seems to be overtaking T.Y. Hilton for that deep ball, role. Again, not really that interested in getting invested in the Colts. And this guy's 0% owned. I just was like, okay, here's a nobody that put up a big line. Like, should we be interested? I don't think so, but
I'm not interested. But I've seen some people's rosters.
Yeah,
in my league, and I'm like, oh, they could be interested in him because some people really suck, man.
They're just that bad, right? Is there anyone else I'm missing? Like, again, we whipped this together, guys. Let us know. I saw Brashad Perriman, I think, was hitting like 70 yards or something. He seemed to be having a good day. He's got some athleticism, as bad as that team is. Let us know. But we now have a bunch of questions to get to.
Hold on. Let me just tell you my 5 comments from watching.
Oh, yes. The truth wisdom.
This is not wisdom. These are just observations. We'll leave it at that. First thing on the list, it's just these are stream of consciousness thing. My daughter told me at one point during the 1 o'clock games, a picture of Joey Sly came on the TV, and she just goes, "That's what James Harden would look like if he were white." That was the first comment.
Joey Sly. Interesting. We should get a side-by-side and confirm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what she said. I'm so frustrated with the Ravens running game. They're leaving like 5 or 6 yards of carry, but you can't play any of these guys. Exactly. It's just nuts. The Jags are on their 5th kicker in 5 games. That's nuts. I mean, has that ever been done before? That's just amazing. I have here written for my 4th bullet point, Gardner Minshew throws a shitty-looking football.
Yep.
I mean, I saw him throw some balls, and I was like, that's not that far removed from what it would look like if I just heaved a ball up in the air while an NFL pass rush was coming at me. It was awful. The Eagles ran a 2-point conversion down 17-6. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. I urge you to look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. It was just like the quarterback just kind of caught the ball, took a couple steps, and just kind of dropped into the fetal position. It was a great play. And last but not least, what the fuck is Romeo Crennel doing? Going for 2, up 7 with like a minute and a half to go in the game. What is he doing? They lost that game because of that.
Yes.
What is he doing, man? Like when he did it at the time, I was just like, that's fucking insane.
Yep.
Like, and sure enough, Tanhill went right. No, Derrick Henry went down, tied the game, and then they won it in overtime. That's crazy. At least make the other team make a 2-point conversion. That's a hard play.
Madman. Absolutely.
Right. That's my comments. You agree that was idiotic, right?
100%. Yes, exactly. Like, do I respect aggressiveness? Yes. That's stupidity. There's
aggressiveness and there's stupidity. And Romeo Crennel has been in the game long enough to know that he's more in the stupidity column than the. What is God? Why did they hire that guy?
Yes.
And I'm saying that even with them getting rid of Bill O'Brien, who is one of the worst coaches anywhere.
Exactly.
Replacing him with Romeo Crennel. Anyway.
All righty. We got Fulgham's late touch. I think it means touchdown, and the Tannehill AJ Brown stack was fire. There you go, Tunes. It looks like we made some good calls. I feel like people will tune out. They always come back when you blow it for them. Yep. They never come back to like praise you when you get it right. So I appreciate that, Tunes, because it's very very unexpected to ever get the praise. Always expect the haters to come through. I like that you got a beer. I'm going to be right back. Let me crack one with you.
Oh, I'm going to read this right now. And I know this is directed more at you, but wants to know, do you like San Francisco tonight? And, I don't hate San Francisco tonight, if I'm being honest. I think everybody saw San Francisco look like not even a professional football team last week. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if a much better version of San Francisco tonight. I'm not saying I like them, money line, like straight up, but I wouldn't be overrated, even as bad as they looked last week. What about you, Wolf?
I mean, Jared Goff always seems to crap his pants in like these types of situations. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a steaming brown dump in his pants at the end and San Fran wins. That being said, how could you have faith in this team getting steamrolled by the fucking Dolphins either? I wouldn't really want to be betting any money on this because it's just like I have no line of clarity in this game. My guess, if I was going to guess the winner, I'd say San Fran wins 27 to like 13. I don't think. I mean, no, it's rather the Rams win 27-13. I don't think San Fran shows up. That's my horrible prediction. I'm not a sports bettor. I only do the DFS. Not yet. Cameron Q Geckel.
What up, guys? What up, Cameron Q Geckel?
Sweet to see you.
Didn't see what happened to Parker. Did you? If he's talking about Devontae Parker, he didn't look too good, did he?
I don't think he did much. That offense didn't really need him today.
I don't know. Maybe something bad happened to him. Matt B says, Fursker, really the number one tight end for DFS, LOL. Yeah, he scored the most points of anybody. And I think second was Gronk, by the way.
Exactly. And it was literally, I had a phone call with my buddy Zenos, the man, who's had some of the biggest DFS days of any human I know. And we talked on the phone. He goes, this Fursker guy, like, I don't know why, but he might be an interesting pivot away from Irv. And then I was like, what about Fells? What's his price? The two like top scoring tight ends we talked about, and I don't think either of us actually ended up playing. And he said he loved both Colts guys too. That's the difference between what my day being huge and being just like, okay. I'm excited to look at it. I still haven't even looked at if and how much I won, but I'm excited to look at that. Maybe we do at the end.
Yeah, let's do it. Winning in all three leagues tonight. Thanks for the help.
Cheers, Tunes.
Mitch Chavez. Screw Juju. Yeah, screw that guy.
Anybody who asked Juju or Claypool, I went Claypool every time. So
Erikal Smith, Julio is a beast. He pulls hammies every year and hurts toes. Don't forget, he hurts toes too. He still finds a way to ball out. Yeah, these were his first 2 touchdowns of the year. I had a much longer write-up for Seamus that he didn't get to read because we didn't want to take too much time on it. Right. But, I mean, Julio had scored any touchdowns. We've seen that before to start seasons where he hasn't done anything. Scored 2 tonight. He pretty much equaled his PPR fantasy output in points today. That was that equaled the rest of his season before now put together. It was like about the same.
Ridiculous.
Ooh, Henry.
We got the studs of the week. Some people cheering it in there.
Tannehill, a top 10 QB rest of the season. I agree.
7, top 6. I mean, the way that offense cooks, it just is something special, and I don't think it's a fluke at all.
No, me either. Seamus the King. Yep. Thank you, Seamus. Seamus getting some love. Madison, LOL. Agree. It's more angry. I'm not even like laughing. I'm more angry. I'm happy because I didn't pick him up, but he sucks. Baker Mayfield's Johnny Manziel in disguise. Might not be wrong. Can't go a game without throwing an INT. I mean, I think you're not being hard enough on him, actually.
Yeah.
Levita Davies says Juju. Yeah.
So done of the week, Juju. Yeah. It's hard to argue. What a loser.
It's Cousins' fault. I don't know.
Cousins ended up putting up points too.
Mike Clay, yeah. Oh, so look, Cousins was on my dud list until the end because he was no touchdowns, 3 picks at one point, but then he countered that with 3 touchdowns.
Right.
Mike Clay said, I didn't play the Millie Maker and put up 191.22 in other tournaments. Can you please do me a favor and look to see where that put me in the Millie, please?
Yep. I'll check when I check my lineup at the end, Mike, and see where I ended up ranking. I will definitely check and see how that stacked up for sure.
Higgins on my bench with 20 and Juju completely flopped. That was Mitch Chavez. Sorry to hear that. Unsung hero Mike Clay says Tampa Bay defense. Yeah, well, I don't know. What do you make of that? What do you make of what we just saw in the 425 game?
Classic, just old man Brady saying, I got the bigger dick, Aaron. And just Rodgers has this little ghost in his head when it comes to Tom Brady. And even you could hear him when he talked pregame about like, I'm not facing Tom Brady. I'm facing the Buccaneers defense.
Well, I mean, that's true. And the Buccaneers defense destroyed him.
Exactly.
So, I mean, did you see my boy Ndamukong Suh bust in there and throw his ass down one time?
Just like exactly. I pictured him running down the stairs and throwing me through the concrete, and I kind of reconsidered my answer.
Tweaking on meth a little bit. I mean, he didn't even hit him full blast, but he did toss him down pretty good.
I know. I cut that defense for fucking. It was actually the Giants, so they scored a touchdown too. So not bad. But that Tampa Bay defense is the real fucking deal. That team could go far.
Matt B says Juju is doo-doo. Yep.
Pretty clear, yeah.
Erikal Smith, it's still kind of hard to see which wide receiver on Pittsburgh is the most consistent. I think if Tomlin likes you, he'll stick with you. Claypool looking to take over. We both agree with that.
All agreed. Yep, 100%.
They should trade Marvin Jones to another team. I mean, maybe. Like, I don't know. Do you think there's a big market for Marvin Jones?
No, I think he's washed, dude. He's done.
Mike Clay says, Parker getting on my nerves with these injuries. Sure. Wish I would have ran CeCe over him up 32, and I have to bypass Rams D and Mahomes. Yeah.
That's close. We'll see.
Mike Clay says another unsung hero is Young Ho.
Young Wei. Yeah, Young Wei Koo. He's the master, dude. We've talked about him. It was a couple weeks ago, and people were like, you're going too absurd, because I had a banner that was like all caps. And I was like, biggest return of the week, Young Wei Koo. And they're like, dude, it's a kicker. Relax. I was like, no. And he scores, 19 in his return, 13.
Hey, how about Brandon McManus?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about. I almost put him in my studs of the week.
How many did he end up putting up?
I think he kicked 6 field goals because they didn't score any touchdowns. Believe it or not. I mean, although they still managed to beat the Patriots. Yeah, sure. You don't need touchdowns to beat the Patriots.
Yes. Here we got your boy here.
Wolf, who would you rather have at tight end this point? Gronk, who he has, or Ertz, who I have. I've already told him I'd rather have Gronk. This is Johnny Good Times, but he's trying to stir the pot. He asked if you and I wanted him to come on the show to provide a little, as he put it, drunken spice, whatever the fuck that is.
We could get some call-ins. There's a way if I invite. Hold on, there's like a code that I can like paste.
I mean, he's pretty funny.
That would be hilarious. I think we'll table that for
next week, Johnny. And you already knew the answer to this. Well, I guess I already answered it. You're just trying to point out that I have Zach Ertz. But it's already been beaten to death, so fuck you. Erikal Smith, CeeDee Lamb looking to be a generational talent. Great landing spot, too.
Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect spot for him.
Noah Pringle. T. Higgins is potentially looking like a great flex start rest of the season for 12-team leagues, maybe even 10-team leagues. And
it's one of those things, it's just like all these rookie receivers. It was heralded as one of the best classes to ever come out, and without a preseason to get their legs under him, a lot of people were worried. Are they going to start slow? Are you going to have to wait forever for these guys to pan out? Like, this is just a testament to this class, because we could just keep CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins. I mean, we could just keep going down the list. Laviska Shenault making plays. I don't know how he did today, but just
he didn't do well at all.
No, yeah, he sucked.
I almost put him on my duds of the week.
Yeah, shit. But in general, we got a lot of rookie receivers. Claypool, Literally maybe the best of them. So yeah, this is a great year for rookie receivers and a handful of rookie running backs.
Erikal Smith, Cooks, and Fuller can feast together, it seems. It does seem so. It does seem so. You know what would really help them out? DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Ever since last year, Eric Smith, I love all the interaction tonight. I'm staying away from David Johnson. Arizona running backs can go to hell. Seriously. Yep. I mean, that's well, I'm going to need, let me open up my fantasy matchup because I thought I was completely done. And then I know I was facing Rodgers and Godwin, and I don't think either of them ended up doing anything crazy. Yeah, so he scored 101 and has Gonzalez left. I have Drake, Schultz, Hardman, and Woods. So, I'm not out of this. If I get a blow up, I need about 60 points from all those guys. I think I can get it. Oh, shit. Kenyon Drake. We should start a segment, Can You Be My Hero, Baby? And think about what we need to win our matchups. I need Kenyon Drake to be my second round pick. I need him to show up. My top 15.
I'll tell you right now, who I need to do some hero work for me.
Yeah.
I need Christian Kirk to be my hero. And I
By
need
how much? How much you need?
As much as he's willing to give me.
20? You need 20?
You want me to tell you the situation in my game?
Sure.
All right, I'm up 2. It's a high-scoring game. He has Cooper Kupp and Devin Singletary left to play. I have the Rams defense and Christian Kirk.
Yeah, you're not in great shape.
I'm up 2. Yeah,
you need Kirk to be a hero.
Yeah. I mean, if Godwin had done anything in the second half, or if I didn't have Zach Ertz or any number of things, I'd be fine because I do have Tanhill and Derrick Henry both on my team.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so I need Christian Kirk to be my hero. Inceptivus 1, trade Mark Andrews, Devontae Parker, and Devontae Freeman for Aaron Jones.
That's a pretty hefty haul. Now, I mean, if you have the depth behind those guys, I'm always
any sort of depth. I would do it. I really would.
If you who's your tight end? That's a pretty big drop from Andrews, but yes,
if Zach Ertz your backup, then don't do it.
I'm always a fan of trading 3 for 1 if I'm getting the stud.
Mike Clay, so glad someone dropped Fant in the league. I have Ertz. Lock targeted that rookie tight end 6 times and a few times in red zone. Yeah.
It's and then you give him a talent like Fant who just looks like the next great tight end after the first couple of weeks.
Hey, real quick,
Mike Clay.
Before we go on to the next one, when's kickoff? I want to make sure we're honoring our commitment and getting off before kickoff.
We got 5 minutes.
Okay, cool.
It's 8:17. I think kickoff's 8:20. So we'll just rip these last few questions here.
All right, Mitch Chavez, Cam Newton saved himself a bit in the fourth quarter. That was a rough game. Played him over Ryan. Yeah, the Wolf threw him out to be on my duds list. And, passing wise, he certainly deserved it. His passing line was awful, but he did have 70 rushing yards and a touchdown, which brought, I think he had 17 PPR points, something like that, which is not great, but not dud worthy when you got other morons out there.
Exactly.
Sebastian Espriu, Will Fuller.
Season.
Yeah. I keep waiting for him to get hurt, but he hasn't.
He's just getting it done.
Robert Sotcherall, thoughts on Zach Moss?
So I'm intrigued, especially because a lot of leagues you could add him right now. If you had a dud that you're cutting anyways, pick him up. He got dropped in a lot of leagues, and Singletary just did not impress last week. And this guy did have a monopoly on the goal line, red zone looks in week 1. If he just jumps right in and takes that back after some reports, he was the more impressive back, absolutely worth owning with how unimpressive Singletary was. And his chance to really separate didn't do anything.
Mike Clay, Rojo, rest of the year schedule is a cakewalk too. Yeah, it's true. The Bucs are in great position to make a decent regular season and end up in the playoffs.
And Rojo's going to end up being that 6th round running back that just was a top 10 guy, he's looking great. I mean, we were higher on him than consensus by about 15 or so, but could have been even higher than we were. And Mike Clay, I know he's your guy. I'm very impressed. I think this is not a fluke at all either. I think it just keeps going like this all the way.
Erikal Smith, free J.K. Dobbins. Okay, free J.K. Dobbins or free Mark Ingram or free Gus the Bus. Free somebody. Free somebody. I agree with you. I think Dobbins is probably the guy I would try to free, although I think Ingram could be effective too. But the fact is none of them are worth anything now, which is crazy. They're averaging, going into this game, 5.6 yards a carry on the ground.
Crazy.
First in the league. You think, man, I want a piece of that running attack. No, you don't.
Ridiculous. And again, any of you burning this midnight oil with us down to the kickoff, if you don't mind giving this a thumbs up, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're at, greatly appreciated it helping us get discovered. Let's answer these last couple questions. We got like a few minutes here. We can get these. Dropping Ingram, yes.
Sure.
We just said this running back situation is disgusting. Green, for all the hate I give him, did look kind of good today.
Yeah, but like look how low the bar is now. Now it's like we're like, oh, he looked okay.
Yeah, screw him. No interest still. Time to panic on Evans.
Rasimakas. Time to panic on Evans. I don't know. I think that panic is maybe a strong word.
Right.
It seems like he's not healthy. I would not panic on Evans. I think the offense is really clicking, and we know how good Mike Evans is. My guess would be eventually he's going to come around. We've seen him be hot and cold before. Remember, we've seen him with 4 fantasy points and then 40. Like that's not new. So and I'm not panicking on him.
Jair Alexander, too, for the Packers has been like a shutdown. I mean, when you think of Calvin Ridley having that 0-point day, came against Jair. He's been as close to a shutdown guy. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody watching, but I believe he was on Evans for the majority of this day. So I'm not panicking yet. Not excited about it, but not panicking, no.
Is Zach Moss a good pickup before week 7?
Yeah, we just answered that one for another guy. But yes, absolutely. Especially if you have trash you can cut. Let's see what he does. You boys think I should trade Matt Ryan or keep Stafford and Breeze duo? I mean, what are you giving up for Ryan? You're not getting that much value. Those guys are all kind of in the same tier for me, so I wouldn't give up too much.
Mike Clea says Kittle going off tonight.
Probably. Very well could.
He's awesome. Robert Satterall says go get Matty Ice.
I mean, again, he looked great. He's always great when he's got all his weapons, especially against a defense like the Vikings, but there's so many good quarterbacks. It's just a matter of like, what do you have to go give him up? If it's a 1 QB league, 2 QB league, that all comes into play.
Machine 35. The guy wants Chris Carson, which is crazy.
Oh, for Matt Ryan? Yeah, no way.
Oh,
get out of here.
Don't do that. Chris Carson's the top 10 running back, man.
Yeah.
Mike Clay says Carter hurt his groin. Yeah.
Geez. Keeping Carson. Yeah, I agree with that.
Kyle says Parker became questionable towards the end. I don't know if it was injury or if they just took him out because of the score.
Probably a little bit of both, right?
Did you know that shutout was the only shutout of the whole season so far? No team been shut out except the Jets.
That's pretty bad. Wow.
Yeah. Matt B says Zach makes my head hurts.
Snare drum to doom.
It's like when we were talking about Bortles in London and we were like, and Earns was watching. We wouldn't even have to. Mitch Chavez says, I need Clyde to give me that owed big game and my hero tomorrow.
How many you need, Mitch? Yeah, he owes it to you, especially because it could be a swan song. He better give you a good one.
Yeah. Just for J206, D. Henderson has looked like he takes over the Rams' backfield. Anything's possible. I don't know.
It's possible. He has looked good, but it seems like the team's reluctant to really hand the reins to him. I think for whatever reason, they really want Akers to be the guy. We'll find out. But I don't know if they're going to end up anybody, handing it off there. So no. And Ingram left the game with an ankle injury. I did not see that, but that would be
that would
big
increase.
Stuff.
Maybe Dobbins is going to get free.
Maybe Dobbins would
Gus
be free.
scored today.
Yeah. Oh God. Of course it was Gus. Yeah. And then we got good stuff, y'all. Game time. So let's, as promised.
Hey.
Cheers, guys. That's our post-game tailgate.
Thank you for all the interaction. That was a lot of fun. We're going to tighten it up, make it even better next week. I promise. We're going to do this again, right, Wolf?
Absolutely. I'm ready to make this a staple. Good stuff.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Cheers, guys.